Allison here, bringing you another episode of We Read It One Night, the podcast where two sisters swoon over our favorite romance novels and share all the favorite fun facts in our arsenal. Today, we're wrapping up our recap of Love on the Brain by Ali Hazelwood, and we are finally talking about that absolutely bonkers finale that we've been hinting at, or just explicitly spoiling, in the past two episodes. Shit hits about 1 million fans. A cat ends up saving the day, and we reveal some secret insider information about NASA's security system. A side note to any FBI agents that heard me say that, no you didn't. While you're listening, check out our merch, drop us a rating and review on your favorite podcast app, and enjoy the show.
A haircut like a lot because I think I'm giving off the wrong impression with my current hair.
Boho chic.
Not boho chic, Allison. Quite the opposite. Fox News anchor.
Oh no.
Like think about it. Like think about it. Like it's the haircut, just like the long blonde hair. And my hair is natural, for the record, everyone. But everyone else's is not. Yeah. The longer it gets, the more. So I do think I need to shave my head. And possibly get acrylic nails just to seal the deal. But like sparkly pink 3-inch long.
What?
It's just what's going to have to happen.
How did you arrive at that point?
I don't make the rules. No, I actually, the acrylics weren't related. I was just like, it'd be really fun to just get like really obnoxious acrylics and then come in like that.
I think clickety-clack.
Exactly. Clickety-clack. Don't go back. Wait, you know what's really funny? I've definitely seen this on the internet before, but I've never experienced it in real life. Okay, finish this sentence. You get what you get.
And you don't get upset.
Yes. You know what someone said to me today? Like my friend, you get what you get and you don't throw a fit. And I've seen that before, but like I've never like actually, but it didn't even sound weird. Like I wouldn't say that she has an accent like to my ears at all. Like she sounds the same to me.
Except the fact that she says get.
Well, no, but when she said it, like now that I just said it, it sounded really like, what's the word, like
Alabama,
over the top. Yeah, but like when she said it sounded normal until I was like, wait, when I say it, it's get what you get, you don't get upset. And I'm like, wait, but that wouldn't rhyme. Wait a second. You get what you get and you don't get upset. You get what you get and you don't throw a fit. You get what you get and you don't throw a fit.
You get what you get and you don't
you
throw
get
a fit.
You get. How did you just say it?
You get what you get.
Yeah, I feel like you said it.
Like the British like, oh, yeah. He's a git.
Yes, exactly. Well, fair enough. Fair enough.
I do say y'all all the time.
Well, yeah, and you only say that. I feel like that was like an intentional move, and for me at least, it sounded. I felt like such a faker. Like the first like 35 times I said that at least, but it's because people will jump down your throat for saying you guys. Like that's the only reason I say that, and usually only in writing. Right? Like you need some plural you, and you guys apparently
don't like guys.
Doesn't cut it anymore. Guys, it's just like, to me, I'm gonna be honest,
it's gender neutral to me.
It completely, and it further than that, it doesn't even sound like a word that really refers to beings that exist on this earth, right? Like guys. It's like you know when you say a word so many times it doesn't sound real anymore. That's just how guys always sounds to me. It's like that's not real. It's a figuratively, some might say.
They don't exist. There are no guys.
Exactly.
It's
so like what are we really
saying? You would say a murder of crows.
Exactly.
Right?
A thunder of dragons.
Crows.
Yeah.
But like crows aren't out there committing murder. You know what I mean?
That
You're not calling them murderers. They could if they wanted to, for sure. But
that was the wrong example to go with, I think. But yeah, a thunder of dragons, some might say. All right. So we are on a vegan restaurant date. Right now.
And she's still like, oh, you don't have to. We're just friends.
This is when she's like, Levi will get to work out of his system whatever's left of his years-old attraction to me.
And then she has a Twitter chat with Schmack. And he's like, oh, I had such a great weekend. And now I'm taking the girl I have a crush on out to dinner. And she's still like, what a coincidence. I'm going out to dinner tonight as well.
I consider telling him that I'm going too, but then Levi showed up. Also, I like that we're super clear that like Schmack and by implication Levi use text to speech. Like they don't text while driving, which like, all right, good for you. Happy for
I
you.
like text to speech.
It
It was a really good discovery on my part. Except it doesn't
doesn't
I
work
haven't
that
been
well.
able to well, it worked for me when I wanted to take notes.
Yeah, but the problem is, okay, maybe, yeah, I understand. Like I did that too. It was great. But it's kind of, and maybe it's just my phone being glitchy. Like I don't know if you've noticed, like I have to like it doesn't start, like I'll start talking and it won't start. I have to say like blah 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 and then it starts and then start talking.
Hmm.
And also like the spacing is weird. It's just annoying. I don't know.
Interesting.
It's not
My phone
perfect.
doesn't do that, but it is difficult when your phone is connected to Bluetooth in the car because then, like, when you do text to speech, it's like you have to do it from the car speakers. You know what I mean? Like,
Mhm.
and it gets finicky. So like, you can't connect your phone to the car speakers if you're gonna do that. Anyway,
Mm.
she's not connecting her phone to car speakers despite criticizing Levi's music taste earlier in the book. But she is wearing the ugly dress.
Oh, I
The Target dress.
know.
She's wearing the Target dress to the date, and he's like, humana, humana, humana. Like it's literally like a Looney Tunes. Like his eyes like pop
Mhm.
out of his head and his like tongue rolls out and becomes 20 feet long. And yeah. And she
Mhm.
was like, definitely not a date.
Right.
Definitely not a date.
Right. But it is such a date. And this is when we find out, I don't know if we've said this, but like the reason that he told her to follow the dress code on the first day, like remember he was like, NASA has a strict dress code. Like you have to, it's because like his boss was like made like an offhand comment. He was like, yeah, they really just want to get rid of this project. Like they don't want her here. Like I wouldn't be surprised if they tried to fire her for like violating the dress code. And so Levi was like, fuck, fuck, fuck. Like she has to follow the dress code, but like didn't communicate that, of course, to her. And so I was really impressed that she managed to like explain this.
They literally just have a conversation in which they clear everything up. And like
Right.
Levi was like, no, that was a misunderstanding. That was a misunderstanding.
Right, right. No, except the one thing, yeah, right. But we don't get, so yeah, and then they also talk about like the original thing that happened, which is when she overheard him telling Sam, their advisor, that he didn't want to work with her, but she only, of course, so she does half-ass eavesdropping all the time. She like left halfway through, and we do never get an explanation for that. Although I'm assuming he said some version of like, oh, Tim told me that she was uncomfortable, like, but that doesn't. It's so
Oh,
weird
I
because
thought it was
like
gonna no, because Sam was like, "Oh, it finally happened. There's a we." So I feel like he was like, "It's because I'm in love with her."
right, but, like, that's kind of part of the Tim explanation, you know? He was probably like, "Well, I'm in love with her, and her fiancé told me that I was making her uncomfortable, so."
I
But
don't
that's
think he brought up Tim at
just
all. I
so
don't think he would have brought that up to his
paternalistic.
advisor.
Why?
I think he was just like, "I'm in love with her. I can't work with her." I'm in love with her and she's engaged. I feel like that's all you gotta say.
I'm in love with her, therefore I'm gonna punish her and take away this really good work opportunity by not working with her.
I
Anyway,
just
a thunder of dragons, not a murder of dragons. I actually looked that up. That's just something some guy said on Twitter. Like, it's not a real thing, but I'm gonna choose to believe that it is, nevertheless.
why thunder and not
No
something to do with
reason.
like fire? I guess not all dragons breathe fire.
Why murder, Allison? Why flock?
Murder because crows are always by like the murder
Well,
scenes.
sure, but like
On
thunder
like the
because they sound like
battlefields.
thunder. Yeah, why not like fire of dragon? No, I don't know. A flame of
A
dragons, a
blaze of
roast, a
dragons.
blaze of dragons. That is good. You
Mm.
should start a countervailing Twitter or something.
Hashtag blaze of
Actually,
dragons
okay,
truther.
to be right, this guy might have just written some like fantasy book and put it in there and it like caught on. So it's unclear if he just like I don't really remember the context.
I
All I
don't
know
really
is that
know.
just some guy being like, this is what it should be, and like that's kind of I guess what it
Yeah.
is to some people. Then she talks about like we always get these like Annie theories. Annie has this like year zero theory that like when you like before meeting a person, after meeting a person, and she's like, but I'm not Levi's common era girl, like, you know, before common era, common era. I'm like, no, like you are. I don't understand. Like at this point, all the evidence, he literally broke her off a relationship meeting her. Anyway. Then they have sex
She's
again.
still got her head in the bedrock. And Levi, he's like on the beach with a shovel and he's trying to dig
Yep.
her out. And he's
Yep.
like, Jesus Christ, how much fun. And the sand keeps slipping back in because like it's slippery and he's just like sobbing internally while he's trying
He's
to dig
like,
her out.
I forgot my ladder at the cemetery.
Every time she says we're casual, he just like falls to his knees and cries.
Yep.
This
Well,
poor
she's never
man.
said it, but she hasn't said it yet because he gets really
Oh,
upset
but
when she
yeah, but
finally
she
says
says
it.
it
She's
many,
thinking
many
it.
times.
But like into herself, like not to him.
No,
though.
but she says it to him after this.
Right, and that's what I'm saying. She says it
Yeah.
once to him, and that's when he's
Okay. They go to his house. He mentions a live-in girlfriend that he used to have. He was like, yeah, my cat really likes you, but like he didn't like this live-in girlfriend.
He doesn't like
And she's
everyone,
like, what is this feeling in my
so
stomach?
sudden and new.
And I would just, once again, I would like to applaud Ali Hazelwood for giving us more than one sex scene. Like, that's explicit. That's not like, and then we fell into bed and woke up the next, like, not, unleash her! Unleash, I will
Free
unleash
Ali.
a blaze of dragons
Ali's ally,
upon Ali Hazelwood's editor so that she can be free to write the smutty books that you know she has in her heart.
Oh
All
my
I'm
God.
saying is if Katie Robert can have a traditional published book deal and write the smut that she writes, then Ali Hazelwood should be allowed to do it too.
I mean, you're right.
Anyway, then Bee moves in with him. She's still like, we're just friends.
Oh yeah, he's like, you should just move in. Also, I can't believe they gave her a twin bed in her NASA apartment. Like, come on, NASA, you're cheap and not that cheap.
I mean, you don't know. Maybe Ali Hazelwood, like, this is her revenge letter, her burn book.
Yeah.
She's like writing all the wrongs that NASA did her that one time she did an internship there.
Well, no, because Bee likes it. Bee's like grateful. Like, this is me saying, she's like, this is so much nicer than I don't mind a twin bed, but like, it's cheap, you know? Like, they shouldn't be giving you a twin bed. I like being able to be up against the wall and get up without like scooting, if you know what I mean. Yeah. Like get right in bed and be up against the wall at the same time, you know, without having to like leap. Also, Guy is asking her questions about her this whole time. He's like, how's your husband? And she's like, me and my husband, we are doing better than ever. Which is a Mitski song, in case you weren't aware.
Yeah, I didn't get. You were like waiting for some sort of reaction there, and I was like, is it a pun? Like my brain is like furiously working.
We are doing better than. Okay, it's always been just him and me together, at least in this lifetime. We're sticking together.
Okay. Yep. And now Bee finally gets to meet Penny and Lily, the single mom and the little girl.
Yeah. And she's like, and Lily's like, oh, it's so nice to finally meet you, Bee. Lily has a southern accent for some reason. Actually, it's so nice to. It's not even that kind of accent. I'm not going to do it. It's so nice to finally meet you, Bee. It's not. It doesn't sound like that. But Bee's like,
so nice to finally meet you, Bee.
Yeah, and she's like, how does she know who I am? Like, why would she know who I am? I'm like, girl, come on. Oh my God.
So oblivious. But she's really good with Penny, and Levi gives her that like hero is clearly imagining their future children together look, but she's like, what a weird look.
Right. And can I say that, because Penny's like, oh, my friend says if you're a twin, your kids will be twins too. Is that true? And B, the identical twin, says you have a higher probability. Yes. No, you fucking don't, people. I don't know why. This is just something. I know this is such a stupid thing to get upset about, but the fact
Rachel
that the entire
is like rubbing her
world,
temples right now.
I just don't understand how people don't know this. And this answers my question, because I feel like if Ali Hazelwood was actually, how does this not get? Does no one fact check? I just don't understand. People, identical twins. How does that happen? The egg splits. That's a random event. It is not hereditary. It is not passed down in families. Oh, but I have multiple identical twins in my family. That's great. Any distribution has outliers. On a population level, there's no correlation. Fraternal twins means there's 2 eggs. And that means that the mom, shot out 2 eggs, right? Right, at least 2 eggs. And that is like genetically, like that can be passed down. It's hereditary. Like it's whether like some people are just more predisposed to do that sometimes, right? And it's passed on to families. You might have heard, twins skip a generation. That's because so the man doesn't affect it, but a man whose mother had that predisposition can then pass that down to his daughters. So that's fraternal twins. If your dad was a fraternal twin, you're a girl, yes, you will have a higher probability of having twins. If your mom was a fraternal twin, you will also probably have a higher probability, but not identical. Oh my God.
Okay, well, here's my question. Listen, I can see that you're already getting upset at me asking a question.
No,
So let me
I'm
preface
not.
this. Let me no.
Ask a
I can see
question.
your hackles are up. You're ready to like fight because you're like Allison's about to play
I'm
devil's
not.
advocate here. So
What
let me preface this by
is there
saying
to
that I
devil's
fully am behind. Like, okay, the scientific evidence that we have right now says identical
Yes,
twins
I
are
know,
not genetic
Allison.
and fraternal twins are.
Yes.
My question for you: do they know what causes eggs to split in the womb? Has that ever been studied?
I don't think so. And yes, this is how I answered the people on TikTok when I wasn't trying to get into a fight. They were like, well, my family has lots of twins. And I was like, yeah, okay, that doesn't fucking mean anything. But that's just according to our current genetic knowledge. Like, who knows? Maybe in the future. But the thing is, Allison, if that were true, like, we would see evidence of it. Like, you'd be able to
I'm
take
just
like
saying, like I'm saying maybe
No, I
it's not
know, I
genetic,
know.
but like maybe there's a certain protein that
Epidemiological.
certain women have that
that
you
would
like develop
how do
because of
you
certain
Yeah,
circumstances. It's like,
sure. Yeah, there could be some other explanation
you
for
know,
sure. For sure. But the fact that you're an identical twin,
does not automatically make you more likely.
yeah, like as far as we know.
Yeah.
And also there's no reason to believe. Like, you know what I'm saying? When things are hereditary, like
I
yeah,
understand.
sure.
I do remember
Maybe there's some
the
convoluted
Punnett
thing where
squares.
like if your grandma was in the Irish potato famine thousands of years ago.
My
But
Irish ancestors being like, do you like the fat we put on your hips? It's good for fighting the English and
Yeah.
staying warm in the winter.
But it's
And
not
I'm
good
like,
for running from the English, I'll tell you that.
you can sit on the English. just suffocate them. And again, I reiterate, Ireland, Scotland, Wales, now's your chance. And actually, I listened to like a New York Times The Daily podcast about the future of the UK, like now that Charles is king, and like the lady was like, I mean, yeah, like there have already been rumblings, like Scotland like voted like 5 years ago whether they're gonna leave, and like they're already mad about Brexit. So like, and nobody really likes Charles. Nobody's like super attached to Charles. So like, she's like, the likelihood of the United Kingdom staying united is pretty slim right now.
But what a weird reason to even like stay part of the country. Like, we like the mascot. That's a good reason.
I mean, listen, I am not a sports fan, but am I a fan of the Philadelphia Flyers because of Gritty? Yes.
I mean, fair enough.
That
Fair
big
enough.
orange guy brought me in. He hooked
Fair
me.
enough. God, incredible.
Are you ready for something equally as silly as Gritty? Well, Penny shows Bee a picture of a tarantula.
No, it's her stuffed. No, it's her stuffed
Okay,
tarantula.
she shows her a stuffed animal tarantula.
Yes.
And Bee faints.
Oh my God. And then she's like, oh my gosh, like you're just like me, because I have seizures. And she's like, do it again. And she tries again. And then it works again. And then her mom like locks it away. And then she spends the whole rest of the day drawing pictures of spiders and trying to show Bee.
Which would totally be me as a kid. I would totally do.
Yes, I would like latch on and not let go. Yes.
But once again, like even Penny is like, oh, you're like me.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh yes, now Bee will finally realize that she has some sort of neurological disorder that is causing these absurd fainting spells.
No, but I know, but also like we do get the background of like she's been checked out by like tons of doctors and they don't find anything. So like I feel like it's kind of like with me where like I just don't poop and people will be like, oh, well, why don't you try this, and this? And I'm like, no, you don't understand. Like the only thing that works is eating berries and oatmeal every single day. Fiber in any other form, it's a no. Like exercise, no. Like it's just not. Laxatives, no.
Listen. Our moms offered many times. I see your point. I do think her fainting at the drop of a hat is a lot different.
Well, I understand, but like I'm saying,
again,
like
we said, potentially dangerous.
No, I understand.
Herself and others.
I'm not contesting that. I'm just saying that like canonically she has tested.
Allegedly.
Well, no, because at the end of this book, she's gonna get checked out again. They're all gonna be freaked out. Remember?
Gets, like,
they make her stay for 2 days.
Like, do her blood test or something, and they like monitor her. They don't like hook her up to an EMG.
Yeah.
I just feel like her being like, yeah, I went to a lot of doctors was like, she went to her GP, they did like a cholesterol test, everything was fine. And then like maybe she went to like one neurologist who was like, I don't know. And then like that's it. And you know, like I really don't feel like I just, God. And you know what? I'm gonna like eat my words. Like sometime in the future, like Ali Hazelwood or someone is gonna be like, actually, this was based on someone that she knows personally, and it's been a lifelong trauma that she doesn't know
Right.
why this happens. And I'm gonna eat my hat. I'm gonna look like an
Right.
asshole.
No, well,
But
I
right
did just
now,
no, Allison, because I did just Google this and like a teen health article comes up and it's like fainting is pretty common in teens. The good news is that most of the time it's not a sign of something serious. And then it lists just like a million things like emotional stress, physical triggers, heat. So maybe it is like
okay,
not
but
as
like
weird.
seeing a
But where
stuffed
do you draw the line,
tarantula.
Allison? But really, where do you draw the line? No, but really, where is the line between narcolepsy and randomly fainting?
Rachel.
What?
Rachel.
What?
Can I have a piece of your hair?
There's no good answer to that. I guess it's sleeping
All
versus
right.
fainting. Sleeping
All
versus
right. Let's get back on track. That's what I'm just saying. Like, she needs like some blood pressure medication or something. Because she does specifically say, oh, my blood pressure falls. And that's why I
right,
faint.
right. Well,
So
that
I'm like,
is the first thing that came on Teen Health. That's what causes it. Yeah.
it just feels like something that could be that there's medication for.
Maybe.
We are not doctors, but
Anyway.
at this gathering, they also find out that Levi's parents are going to be in town next week. And if you remember, Levi's parents suck. And now Bee is going to meet his parents. And she's still like, nothing to see here. Totally just friends with benefits.
Levi's parents were just absurd, like so silly, like terrible in like such a ridiculous, not unrealistic way to me, which is like fine because maybe it didn't make me angry really. Yeah, they were just so like not real. They were just characters. Like I don't know. They were paper cutouts of like
I don't know
meanies. Like, it was just so silly. I was like, you're
I feel
just
like
silly.
I believe that's okay.
You're just
There are
silly.
parents like that. She's gonna go to dinner with his parents. Before that, she has two observations. One, she's like, Guy has been acting all weird and stressed and moody. And I came into his office the other day and he quickly closed all of his tabs. Man, I should get him like a present or something after this is done, you know, because he's just been working so hard. Just like,
No, and the thing is, like, she does, like, I guess what we haven't mentioned is that, like, Guy was, like, basically, he, like, made this helmet. Like, it was his project along with Peter, the smashed head guy,
we
right?
don't find that out until later. Though.
No, yes, we do, because she's been thinking this whole time. She's like, wow, Levi really just stole Guy's job. Like, I'd be kind of mad if I was Guy, but Guy seems really chill about it. Like, that's cool of him, right? And Levi and Guy are, like, good friends. She's been thinking that from like the second she met Guy, Allison, she was like, he's the one who's been emailing me. Why couldn't he have been my co-lead? Like he knew so much about like I thought he was going to be my co-lead because he's like on the project. And then Levi swooped in, transferred from Jet Propulsion Lab, I think, and took it over.
Anyway,
keep that in mind.
Just like with the files disappearing, my colleague is acting shifty. No thoughts. There are no thoughts.
And he makes me uncomfortable when I'm talking to him. Yeah, and he totally has a motive because, like, I would be mad. Like,
yeah,
which honestly, like justice,
from the jump,
justice for Guy.
No, justice
in that
for
respect.
Guy. I mean, that sucks for sure.
That's so, and it makes me. It just goes back to Levi being totally oblivious to like.
But he's also he's also mad. Like the helmet was like the Sullivan Kowalski, whatever the fuck guy's last name is.
Yeah, lost his name.
It was like the helmet, and then they like dropped his last name and just made it like the Sullivan. And like I understand being mad about that, but also like he died.
Okay, again, but he said I wouldn't have been mad about that if it had just like. But also, like, he died. But also, like, we did open up this book with, like, an ad, what would Marie do, about someone writing in and being like, I was an author on a paper, and then they just magically dropped my name right before submissions. Yeah. That's literally the exact same situation. Like,
no, I mean, Guy definitely is justified in his anger. Not in the way he
But you know what he would have been justified in
performs that
doing
anger.
is being a spy for the Dutch company.
Not a
That would
spy.
have been totally justified.
I'm gonna be honest, like I totally would have supported
Guy's a
corporate
spy, guy the
espionage.
spy, Allison. Guy
Right.
the spy. Guy the spy.
That's why Allie didn't do it. She was like, it'd be too obvious.
And I have to name him Guy because that's just like it's just
because that's
that we
the
have.
douchey,
I already
horrible
used
man name.
I already used him. No, Guy
It's
isn't a
true.
douchey name. Guy's not douchey. Guy's like the kid who gets bullied for having the name Guy.
Are there any other like names like that?
David. David is the quintessence.
No.
David is what you, for me, is what you think of as Tim, I think.
Oh, interesting.
David.
I don't think of David like that.
I've never met a David that
I
I've
was
trusted.
thinking like the name like
it's, you know what it is?
popped into my head, but then I was like, no, because like
cute.
Bert
Like
could
Bert and
totally
Ernie.
be like
The
a
cop who's-
bearded, like
yeah.
muscly, like mountain man, you know.
Or also like the cute cab driver. Is he the cab driver or the friendly cop in
Bert and Ernie.
It's a Wonderful Life? Yeah, who like
Yeah.
sings outside your window in the rain to like give you
That's
the 7
true.
C's.
That's true.
No, David, and you know what it is? It's because I did have, I think my like best friend when I was 4 was named David. Like, you know, fairly
What do you
right?
mean? I think we hear this story all the time.
Well, I don't know if he's my best friend. I had other friends,
Oh,
but like
okay. Oh.
I don't know, whatever.
Allegedly.
And I did slam his fingers in a van door. Accidentally, I think. I have no recollection of it. It did happen. I think he did have to go to the emergency room. And so I think that the Davids of the world are just like rightfully annoying me ever since.
Rachel, you're forgetting the most famous story of you and David's relationship, in which he was in, you know, listener, those like little like toy cars, they're like Flintstone cars, so they don't have a bottom, so like you move by like, you know, using your feet.
Yeah.
So David was in one of those, and Rachel, I forget.
Mine. It was mine, to be clear. It was my Flintstone car on our driveway.
I forget what your motivation. I don't know whether you were just like mad at him, whether you wanted to use it, whether you were just like you became the Hulk for a second. But she, like 4 or 5-year-old Rachel, picks up this car with him inside and yeets it onto the lawn.
Tipped it over, yeah.
No, this story, it's imprinted in my mind that you physically picked up the car. And that mom and David's mom were like, what the fuck?
Oh, I was like, yeah, no. And then that time that I bit this child like chased them under a crib and bit them. And the parents were like, does she have HIV? We need to know. Does she have HIV? Get her tested. They were literally like, get her tested for HIV. And mom loves these like.
She broke the skin.
I know, but I was also like 3 and definitely did not have HIV. Like what?
It was in the AIDS crisis.
God. Okay.
Oh,
Anyway.
And I just want to say, and yet you doubt with all that evidence of violence in your history.
Yeah, but that's
toward just
different.
like a guy that wasn't even related to you, towards just a friend.
No,
you deny the attempted murder of your own sister.
Listen, that's extremely different. Like I feel like I don't know what to tell you except that you either get it or you don't. But I feel like impulsive violence is extremely different than scheming. I feel like I was never.
I think you trying to kill me was impulsive. I think you saw an opportunity and you took it.
Moving on. This is when she has the like, Levi's being so nice to me, it hurts. Something twinges in my chest. It's painful. It's weird, odd, strange, peculiar. I make a note in my reminders app. Visit primary care doc when you're back in Maryland.
I was like, oh my gosh, it's a twist.
It is. It's the girl this time.
This is the first time I've ever seen that with the heroine. I've never seen it in a het book. This is the first time that's ever happened.
Right.
I was like, oh my God.
The wonders never cease.
The majority of things about this book are like gender swapped in terms of like, you know, traditional romance. Like it's the girl that, you know, is like wants to be emotionally removed and like has the you know.
No, for sure.
And the man who believes in true love.
So they are off to dinner. The first red flag, according to Bee, and you know, true, is that the parents are like, we are going to an upscale steakhouse. And honestly, that's a red flag because they're not considering Levi's like dietary needs. But also just like a steakhouse, it's a no for me. Like I just feel like I've never been to a steakhouse that's been like a pleasant vibe. It's always like dark, but like not even classy, if you know what I mean.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a no
I
for
don't know. I
me.
feel like you could get some good grilled veggies and some good fries at a
Oh,
steakhouse.
sure. I just mean, yeah, no. But, like, that's it. And probably not the grilled veggies, actually. Like, maybe the good
The
fries,
grilled
they wouldn't
veggies are
even be
probably
good.
grilled in
They'd be
animal fat,
thick
probably.
they'd be thick and unseasoned fries is what they would be. Not even that thick and very
That's true.
unseasoned.
That's true.
Like,
I
it's a
feel like if
no.
you own a steakhouse, you like have to sign some sort of blood oath to Satan to like not season any of your food.
Yes, because as we all know, good food, all it needs is a little salt and pepper. Yeah,
Let
no.
me specify by saying this is an
That was
American steakhouse. I'm not slandering Japanese steakhouses, which are
Oh,
different.
yeah, saucy indeed. Okay, so and Levi's like, "Don't worry, I'll make you dinner afterward." And she's like, "His first concern is that I'm gonna be hungry for dinner. That is that I don't go hungry tonight." And then she's like, "I'll do stuff for you after too." Then his parents show up and they're total dicks.
They're the
Just from the
worst.
get go.
And then it's basically a hating game situation, which she stands up.
Yeah, except again, like at least there's something here he could do. Did I say this before? Like at least in this situation, if he gave it, like they want him to do the military thing. There's like a defined thing. Whereas in the hating game, it was like the different standards. It was like he was doing the same thing as his brother, but like
By
they just
hating
didn't
game
want it.
situation, I mean she
Dad
stands
being a
up for him
dick,
against
mom not
shitty
doing
dad, and
anything.
also that mom is
Indifferent
mom and
mom.
siblings are enablers.
Right. Because like they're literally so their whole thing is they want to join the military and they're like and the mom's like how old are you, Levi? Like for the age right. And that, Allison, that is what makes me think that Ali Hazelwood might actually be an orphan. Because like what kind of mom, well, I guess this is a really shitty mom, but like I just feel like it all goes back to the fact that people get presents on their birthdays instead of their mothers getting presents on their birthdays. Like, come on. In one of those things, I'm sure is like the most traumatic, burned into your brain day of your life for one of those people. And it's not you. Like,
well, I don't know. We used to think babies didn't feel pain. Who's to know? Like you're coming out of the birth canal. You're like, what the fuck?
Yeah.
Here's the thing. One, for moms though, there's like the baby hormones that like kind of wipes your memory. But two, to be fair to his mom, I mean, shitty mom move. To be fair, I once forgot how old I was.
Well, sure. But again,
and I had to look at my Instagram.
Right, but again, you weren't there, so it's not really the same at all. Like you weren't there.
Rachel.
You
it was
weren't.
Traumatic. That's the original sin that the Bible's talking about, the trauma of being born.
Oh my God, Hyacinth. I'm waiting for that on Bridgerton. Hyacinth's own trauma.
It starts with
if you guys remember from our episode, like every Bridgerton season so far has, and they've added the same, because not all the books have this, has had like a traumatic thing about Hyacinth's birth. And it's just going to continue through all 8 seasons until finally it culminates with Hyacinth's own trauma.
But do you think, okay, so in like, we're really like going off topic, but in so the next season it's Colin and Penelope is obviously like a fave of the series, both in the books and the show. So do you think somehow like Penelope will also have some sort of experience with Hyacinth? Like Penelope will like just be like peeking in the window. Like Penelope came over to play with Eloise. And she was like,
yes. Why wouldn't it be Colin? It would also be Colin though, but yeah. Yeah, for sure. Yes, absolutely I do. Yes. Or like somehow Mrs. Featherington will be the doctor. Like we thought it was a man, but she just pulls off her Scooby-Doo mask and she brought along and she like didn't have a babysitter, so she brought Penelope and like stuck her in the closet or something. Like, yeah.
I was just peeping through the crack, like, oh my gosh.
Oh my god.
Is this how her and Eloise became friends? Like Penelope was trying to sneak out undetected, and Eloise is like, "What are you doing?"
I'm your new sister. Didn't you see me born? Penelope and Eloise are actually the same person. Confirmed. Back to the book. The parents are total dicks.
Sexy times.
No. She has to stand up for him. She's like,
I already said that.
They're like, no, but you didn't say the quote. It's funny. They're like, why don't you join? The Marine Corps might take you. The Air Force might still let you join. And she's like, why not the French Foreign Legion? And the dad's like, why would he want to join another country's military? And she's like, well, why would he want to join the Marine Corps? Like, she's like, it's not like he's out here like robbing people for a living. Like, he works for NASA. Like, anyway, moving on. Finally, fine. Oh, also, like, she's like, they suck. You need to cut them off. And he's like, oh, my brothers and mom are much better when my dad's not around. It's like,
enablers. And
Anyway.
then Bee is like, I'll never hurt you like your family did, basically. And I'm like, oh. And then he does, oh, I love that. I love this response. He's like, he says, you could rip me to shreds. And like the some version of like, you could break my heart. The Reese Winterborn, you could like stab me in the heart, and I would love there loving you, and I would lie there loving you to my last breath. The whatever the fucking prince's name from the Selection series of like, break my heart 1,000 times. It was only ever yours to break to begin. Like, it's my fucking catnip. I love that line.
It is good.
Wait,
anyway, now we have what?
Yeah, they're having sexy times. And I have something funny, and then I have something hot to point out about this. Like, he's like talking about how she's such a shitty cook, and this is like a running through line, like, aha, she's such a bad cook. And she's like, you know, doing some dick play, and he's like, you're burnt, or like, you know, some sort of gasp moan combination. Stir fry. And I spent at least a full 60 seconds being like, what is stir fry? Like, what? Like, is that like a sauce? Like, what is
Okay, like every time we have this experience where like I've read the book like with my eyes, and like, or one of us has read it, you know, I realize that like, I know we don't like reading things, but I feel like there really is like, it really is a different experiment, like, listening versus reading. I know.
It's not that I don't like reading things. I like reading them. I just can't. I would not read books. This podcast would not exist if I had to read all these books with my eyeballs.
I know.
It wouldn't happen.
Yeah, but I know.
Physically cannot. Okay, so we have the funny stir fry thing. And yeah, this is when I wrote my official note of like, I need to fight Ali Hazelwood's editor, because he comes in her mouth as he's giving her a blowjob. And then he's like, show me. And he like massages her neck as she swallows. And I was both like physically horrified this and like incredibly turned on by it. I was like sitting there fanning myself, and I was like, Ali Hazelwood has this potential. She can do this. She can write these scenes, and she is being reined in. She's being shackled. Anyway, that was like, I was like, I didn't know that I was into that kind of sex play until
it also just felt very out of character for Levi, though. I don't know why, like that specific move, but that does make me think she's being reined in, because like it could have been in character. You know what I mean? If she was allowed to do more. Yeah.
The daddy, her calling him daddy could have been real. You know what I mean? It could have like not been a little joke. You know, Ali Hazelwood probably had her call him daddy, and then her editor, her evil editor, was like, no, you can't do that.
Yeah.
And so she put in that thing as a joke, as like a little like nod to the scene that never was.
Yeah. God.
Free her.
So now it's time for disasters come in threes. And then she has this whole thing about like how, you know, well, this is, you know, just generally like human beings, we love to make connections, like see patterns that aren't there. Like that's just like a very human thing. Like, oh, I have a lot of identical twins in my family. It must be like for this X, Y, and Z reason. Like that's just a thing people do, right? But then three disasters do come. And the very first thing is that she logs onto Twitter, and there's like all these people that she thought she was like, you know, internet friends with. They're like blocking her, and they're like, I'm so disappointed. And then we see, oh my God, this is so bad. Like screenshots from, remember the GRE dude who was like, what vast monetary interests are behind these influencers? Who are they? He has screenshots ostensibly from her that are like, hello, like I know this has caused trouble for you. Pay me money and I'll like turn the tide back to like the GRE company. You know, basically like,
my name is
we're asking for too much. Right. Which, why did they redact it? That was good for her, but like,
I think because they were like, he's like, we're reviewing with the legal department. I don't know.
But there's like no situation Well, I guess if they like accidentally did it and it wasn't her and like she got
Yeah,
doxxed.
right. Like if she had been hacked
Yeah,
or
they could be like it's
something.
slander or something. Yeah. Anyway, so that's like terrible. And then she overhears like Rocio and Kaylee, like they're like really, really upset. And Rocio's like, this will mean a lot of horrible things for lots of good people. And even for some evil ones like me. Like just like I just love her. And she has
She's a
dramatic
cartoon
lone
character.
tear. And then she's like, and then Bee's like sitting there like anxiously twisting her grandma's wedding ring. And Rocio's like, you need to stop wearing that because yesterday I spent 15 minutes arguing with Guy about whether you're married. And then
No.
just like,
And then
fuck.
she leaves.
Yeah.
And this whole time I was like, just fucking tell her. Just tell her that. Why can't you tell her? You think she wouldn't
Well,
believe you?
I mean,
That
she
you were
might
like,
not. She might not.
okay. So here's my thing. I
And
got a little.
that's something you simply don't want to find out about someone
Okay.
if you can possibly
Here's
avoid
my
it.
thing. I got a little bone to pick.
You don't want to find out that they wouldn't believe you.
That wasn't my point. Here's my bone to pick with this. So first, it's her reaction to me for me is very odd because obviously she's upset. Bee.
Yeah.
But she's not like, oh my God, was I hacked? Like
Yeah,
she
she is.
checks. Yeah, she checks that she's like, all of my logins have been from Houston.
Mm-hmm.
But then I was like, okay, well, like check your DMs. Like see if it's in your DMs. And like I looked this up. I looked up whether you can do this on real life Twitter because I didn't want to call it out if I was going to be wrong. And even if they've been deleted, so even if Guy sent the DM and then deleted the chat, you can go and download every DM you've ever sent from your Twitter archive.
Are you
Even
sure
if
there's
it's
no
been
way
deleted.
to get rid of that? Like if you're
Yes.
technologically savvy enough?
No, even if it's been deleted. Everything is there. Twitter
Fair
keeps
enough.
everything.
Fair
That's why it's
enough.
like the internet is forever. Like literally, if you post it
Right.
online, even if you delete it, it's never disappearing.
Right, but what would that have
And
told
I was
her?
like whether it actually came from her account, whether this is photoshopped or not. Like she never verified. I just wanted a moment in which she goes
That's
into her DMs
true.
and sees whether it actually came. I was like, you don't think
No,
for a second?
because like
My
that's so
note
true.
was
Like
like,
the
oh
photoshopping would
no.
have been so easy. Like
I know. My note was like, oh no, someone photoshopped this. That was my initial assumption. And that's never like, I know it's not at what happened, but I was like,
well, but the person that photoshopped it like would have had to have been the GRE people. Which I just feel like
yeah, so
would be really bold. Like I don't know. Yeah.
I don't know. Either way, like
That just seems
it's
like
just
really
the fact that that's not even considered.
Yeah, true.
Yeah. Anyway, then the grad school people lawyers sent her a cease and desist, so they know her real name.
Oh yeah,
And
no,
she's
that's
like,
horrible.
oh no,
Yeah, it's like shocking. Yeah, wow, I hate that. I hate that a lot. Oh, and she also like messages. She also messages. This is when she messages Schmack, and she's like, "Hey, have you seen what's going down?" And he's just like, "Yeah." And then she's like, "This is crazy. Like, I don't know who did this. Like, it wasn't me. Like, it obviously wasn't me." And he's like, "Problem is, a lot of people are saying it is, and they've got evidence." And it's like very like deadpan, which like, and that's all. And he's like, and she's like, "I don't know what to do." Like, and he's like, "Give me a day," and then stops responding, which like indicates that he doesn't actually believe her, that he never does anything about it. So I just feel like that's what I'm saying about the "You've Got Mail" thing. I feel like this was originally like the main conflict, and then it just kind of like died, and also like he didn't even believe her.
I think it's to show. I mean, I do agree that
Like
I think
that line. Problem is, a lot of people are saying they have evidence. Anyway,
no, I know. Like, I agree that the "You've Got Mail" thing was probably bigger the thing, but I do think that the DMs still are important to the book in like because B is so stubborn. She like refuses to acknowledge. She like takes so long to refuse to acknowledge they're even friends, and then takes so long to acknowledge, that like this is like more than friends with benefits. Like,
yeah.
And we don't really get a lot of like full conversations between them because it takes so long for her to admit this. So the DMs are there to be like, look, like they get along really well and they have this like repertoire like built up.
That's true.
So like when they like fall so hard for each other, it's not wild because they've known each other for years, actually.
That is how
like,
most
intimately.
romance books work, though. So yeah, that wouldn't even be like required. But no, I agree. It does do that. No, I'm
but
just
even
saying
just on the page to show us like on the page that they do it as opposed to like
I guess so. But I don't really think that was like no, sure. okay, so now it's time for like the big presentation or the big demonstration to the big bosses, the big like political appointees. She goes to pick up her asshole boss, whose name I will never
Trevor.
know. I simply know in one ear out the other. And he's like, oh my gosh, like that Ward guy, the one who's leaning on NASA's side, he must be a damn genius for getting this done so quickly. And she's like, we're co-leads. And he's like, yeah, but she's like, but what? And he's like, never mind.
Never mind. So they do the demonstration, and initially it's like, oh, it's going good. And then
Mhm.
it goes wrong. It goes wrong. And Guy has a seizure. And
Right.
I mean, listen, we quit. Spoiler alert. Guy futzed with the program to like fuck it up. And
Mhm.
I was like, I mean, listen, I gotta like give it to him.
Yeah.
Cause he like fully gives himself a seizure. Like he goes to the
Right.
hospital. He's
Right.
passed out. He does not fake
Right.
this.
No.
Like this man commits. When he wants
Right.
revenge,
They
he
can't.
commits. And
He do revenge. He does
I
do
was like,
revenge.
like I'm giving a little golf clap to Guy. I was like, I appreciate a villain who like really throws themselves into their work, you know?
Mhm.
Passion
Yeah.
project.
But, like, also totally unhinged. Also, I really would have loved, like, an actual motive instead of just, like, he's unhinged. Like, come on.
I
Come on.
sometimes that's the motive. Sometimes the motive is just he's unhinged. All
Insane.
right, so
Insane. Anyway, what we will say is that at least Levi doesn't have the worst communication skills in this book. Guy does take the cake because he could have just literally like the thing that I would never do, but like that would be the logical thing to do in this situation is like talk to someone and be like, "Hello, I don't think I was treated fairly being bummed off this project. Like that was
even
not cool."
talk to
Like
Levi. Just
right,
be like,
right.
"Hey, dude, I'm feeling kind of." You don't think Levi would try to like remedy
Yeah.
that?
Right. Like get him to be the yeah, no. Right.
Yeah,
Anyway.
whatever. So oh no, now Blink is over.
And
And
they're all
then
blaming
Trevor comes in
her.
and he's like, "Actually, let's just replace
Well, B
B."
says it too. She's like, "It's my fault."
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then Levi defends her, and then Levi's like, "We can't give up." Like she walks out, and Levi's like, "We can't give
Mhm.
up," and she's like, "Just go back and make sure that it happens." And then afterward, he like comes to comfort her, and she's like, "Ah, I'm incompetent and sad, and I'm leaving." She's packing her suitcase. She's like, "I'm
And he's
going,"
like
and he's
shocked
like,
that she's
"What?
leaving. Yeah.
Yeah, you're leaving?" And
Yeah.
they fight, and she's like, "What's the point of me being here?" And then, there's some dialogue in between, but the answer to that
Mhm.
question is him being like, "I'm in love with you." And then he
Yeah.
basically reads her to filth. He's psycho this man, like he puts on his little therapy hat. He puts on his therapist hat, and then he doesn't, your thing, for anyone who's been to therapy, the thing that your therapist does when like they're about to read you to filth, and they're like,
What does
"Correct
that
me if
mean? What
I'm
phrase are you saying right now? The fuck is that?
read you to filth."
I've never heard that in my whole life. I'm
Like
happy for you to
expose
adopt
you,
it.
like,
I had picked up the context. I've just never heard it.
yeah.
Okay, continue.
Interesting. Okay. When your therapist is about to do it and your therapist is like, "Correct me if I'm wrong, but I'm getting the sense that," and then they just go on a monologue and that like basically exposes like all the shit. Like that's what Levi does here. He's just like, "You have attachment issue, like all that."
Basically what her sister America has been saying this whole time. But
Yeah.
yeah.
And then he gives a whole speech, and he's like, she's like, "You'll find somebody else," or whatever, and he's like, or something like that, and he says, "There hasn't been anyone else." And that's like just part of a very long and romantic speech, and I was like, damn, this man knows how to give a speech. Ali Hazelwood knows how to write a speech.
Mm. Which I thought they would have established when they were like quote unquote establishing that they didn't have any STDs, you know? Because at that point she's like, he hasn't been with neither of us. It's been so long for like either of us, you know?
Yeah.
Anyway. Yeah. And then he's like, as a parting gift or whatever, he gives her a USB.
Yeah, she says, "His hands, they are my home." And I was like, and I know, Rachel, that you are not a huge fan of like characters calling each other their home.
Did
How
I
did you
say
feel
that?
here?
Did I say that?
You've said that to me. I don't know if you said it on the podcast.
But it makes sense in this context because Bee doesn't really have a home.
Yeah.
Bee is like a weird. Okay, wait. Sidebar. Have you ever read that book? Oh my god, I don't even know what it's fucking called. I just remember it had a blue cover. It was one of those like, I don't know, but basically, Nora. Her name's Nora. Anyway, basically the character like had a single mom, but who was like rich, and the mom just like paid a nanny to like live with her. And it was just so wildly like odd and unrealistic. This is only a step away from that, in that like she's an orphan who's like been shuttled around to random countries. Like but it's clear that she does not have a home. So
We're a nanny.
we're good for that.
And basically he's like, no, let's fight for us. And she's like, in her head, she's like, oh, like even thinking about losing him, like it's causing me physical pain, blah, blah, blah. Like I definitely like imagine the rest of my life with him. But then she still leaves. She's like, I'm gonna go anyway, because she's scared of him leaving her, because she's a poor traumatized little baby. And he gives her a flash drive, and he angrily slams it on the table and then like storms out. And then she finally she looks, oh yeah, so the flash drive has some special footage on it, but before she looks at it, she goes on Schmack's Twitter page and she sees a pic of Schrodinger.
Oh my god, yeah.
And she finally realizes that like Levi Schmack and that she's the girl. She's like, oh my god. And then she's still like, but I can't. And then she looks at security footage. So the flash drive has security footage of the cat. And Levi, it has like clips. Like Levi has been combing through the security footage for like the whole time she's been there, basically, like for this cat. And it's just like the cat like in her office, the cat chewing on her cables, the cat like sleeping on her desk, the cat eating her treats. And then, but lucky he did this. And this is it's interesting. It's like basically the same thing that happens in the love hypothesis, is that like person has recording and like accidentally records the evidence they need. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Whereas like, so she's like, oh, like a man like sneaking into her office. And she's like, but she only sees like the back and then like the footage like like cuts. And we later find out that was Guy. And I was like, wait, how is he not on all the footage? And then he was like, no, I've been wiping myself from the footage.
He's
so
just
like,
sloppy. Yeah. And he got access to the fucking footage because of Rocio and Kaylee. For some reason. Like I forget how that was connected, but that was the reason. Because
listen, I'm glad that like that came back. That was like relevant to the plot. It's actually
but
really
important. Like they said we had a sex scandal. Who best to fix this security footage wise? Random engineer on the brain control project, not the huge security team that definitely exists. Like they really said that's the guy for the job.
Like, his name is Guy, Rachel. You can't argue with that. He's the guy. Yeah, and so then she's like, she emails, she's like, oh, I can't text Levi because like we just broke up.
She has this whole thought about like how when you're lonely you feel your brain shrink, which like does literally happen. And she's like, but if I'm used to being alone, I won't be lonely, right? If a cat never gets any treats, he won't miss them, right? Just like the thought of a cat that never gets any
no treats. Oh, I'm gonna go feed our cat some cat go-gurts.
Yeah, do that.
Which, interestingly enough, Fat Addie, Chonky Addie doesn't not like she's like, she's like, they're fine, but she's not like any more or less enthusiastic about them than any other treats.
Yeah.
But like Evie is like
I know, but like she's always so reluctant. She's like, but
then she goes and she just like she goes after it.
So cute. Oh my gosh.
Yeah. So then she emails Guy and she's like, oh, can you help me access the security footage? And I'm like,
oh my god.
Are you kidding me? And then
she doesn't. No, she doesn't. She emails Levi.
She emails Guy.
She emails Levi. And no, she emails Levi and Guy sees it. She doesn't email Guy because Guy's in the hospital. She has no reason to think the guy would.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Oh, okay. Fine.
Yeah. She emails
Levi. Whatever. And then she goes into the office, of course. And she finds proof that someone altered her stimulation program. And like, that's why I got all fucked up. And also someone had logged into her Twitter.
Well, she saw on the security.
Yeah.
And she's like, wait. And she's like, well, I would never log on to Marie from work computer because, quote, Rocio has a perfect visual of my computer. Just like sounds horrible. It sounds terrible. Like anyone, much less your
move your desk so that they face each other.
I
Like,
know. Well, maybe
anyway.
like the person in the hallway can see it then. Anyway, yeah, so she figures it out. And then who walks in? Dun dun dun.
Guy, it's like a fucking, it's a Scooby-Doo villain. He
Yeah.
literally, like he's like a villain in a melodrama. He's like backlit and his like silhouette, he's like in the doorway and he's like, "What are you doing, Bee?" And it literally is, Rachel, like, I know that we were like, when we did Twisted Love, right, we were like kind of joking when we were like, you know, the characters, like, they take off their Scooby-Doo mask, like, et cetera, et cetera.
I wasn't
But in
joking.
this scene, this is like a specific, I think intentional homage to Scooby-Doo villains, because Guy literally says, "It would have worked out great if it weren't for you looking at the security footage." And I was like, just replace security footage with meddling kids. This is a Scooby-Doo homage. Confirmed.
And I love that for Ali Hazelwood. Like, you know, she had to fight for that. You know, they were like, "No, Ali, that's a little too unorthodox." And she was like, "No, I simply will."
She's like, "Let me
this
keep
children's book was too unorthodox.
We're ending this book with Levi getting pregnant. We're leaving this with an M. Craig situation."
But it's Guy's
Pick
baby.
one.
But it's Guy's baby. Yeah. No.
Yeah. Yeah. So basically, Guy's like, "Yeah, I was like trying to sabotage the project."
And not that I was a spy for the Dutch company. Like, come on.
Yeah, he wasn't a spy. I thought that would have tied in so well.
And what if it wouldn't even need to be like, oh, he was always a spy and that's why he joined it. No, it could be like, I was so mad and then they reached out to me. I was the weak link, and I decided to like, I reached out to them because I wanted to get back at you. Like that.
Yeah.
Perfect. You know
so
what?
easy.
Appropriate revenge. Like, NASA would have deserved it, frankly. But like this personal vendetta. And then he was like, I was going to leave you out of it, Bee. But, besides, ruining her career by like, ruining this project. But then I found out you were lying to me about your husband.
And you're fucking Levi, yeah.
Oh my God.
And then, so you're like, oh, what a twist. What a reveal. The Scooby-Doo mask has come out. Great. And then Guy pulls out a fucking gun.
Because she's like, I need to leave. And he's like, I can't do that, Bee. It just goes, it takes a left turn at bye, Guy.
Off the fucking rails. It explodes out of a cannon. He pulls out a gun and he's like, this is what we're going to do. We're going to go up to the roof and you're going to jump off it. And it's going to be like, oh, like she lost everything. She like died by suicide, like blah, blah, blah. And I was like, what in the soap opera is going on?
In the Grey's Anatomy, her first thought is like, oh my God, I'm going to die without ever having had a cat. But then people, and this is the real reason this book will probably like top the Catskill. Like this is the new Catskill standard for me, at least. Because the way she gets out of this, he's like pointing a gun at her. He's like, get out the door. And then we hear a growl, and they both turn in slow-mo. Belisette is growling, and then she launches herself at Guy's head, and Bee gets away.
It's literally like a cartoon. Like I'm imagining, when like a cat attaches them, and there's like the cloud around the head.
Yes, that's exactly what it is. Actually, it's the cartoon.
She runs away.
She runs away, and then Levi hurls himself around the corner. You know what I mean? Like literally, you can picture him. Like he's knocking. He's like he makes the corner so sharp. And then he like knocks into the walls. He like slides. So this, Tom Cruise. Yeah. And then he tackles Levi, and then he tackles Guy, and then the gun like gets like scattered. And Bee's like, I considered picking it up, but I don't. I'm like, all right, fair girl. You got your principles, but also like, come on.
And Levi's pinning
Guy
to the floor.
You're gonna say it? Wait, he has like I'm picturing like a chokehold, and Bee's like standing there, and Levi's like, Bee, can you do something for me? Take a step to the right, then again to the right. Okay, now she hits into the couch, and he's like, sit down, because when you pass out, I won't be able to catch you while I'm chokeholding Guy. And you know what this was exactly like in The Lost City, that movie with Ryan Reynolds and Sandra Bullock.
Oh
Yeah, whenever so she's scared of heights, or like whenever they're climbing something, he's like, "Do you smell something?" And she's like, "What?" And he's like, "No, no, you need to smell harder. Smell harder." And then he's like, "Okay, now deep breath in, out, in, out." Take a step. Take a step again. Okay, good. Shins hit the couch. Okay.
Sit down.
Oh my God. And then she does
Listen,
pass out.
and if you thought the Adam Carlson violence was good, this is like, and at this point I
still
was
like
like,
Adam
you
Carlson.
know, so obviously I've been advocating this whole time to like let Ali Hazelwood write the smutty contemporary romance that she clearly wants to. But I also at this point, because of how this finale took a left turn into Crazy Town, I was like, Ali Hazelwood would write an amazing historical. Because you know what this fucking was? This was like a Lisa Kleypas historical. It's like cute and romantic. There's some stakes at the beginning. And then in the finale, someone gets poisoned, someone gets kidnapped, someone gets shot, someone gets locked in a closet for 2 days. Like, it's the classic Lisa Kleypas historical finale. I think Ali Hazelwood should write a historical. I think she would excel at the just batshit insane historical because like in contemporaries, right, you're rooted in reality. Like you really don't have a lot of wiggle room to do the absolutely batshit insane if you're just writing a regular contemporary romance, like not a mafia romance, like just this kind of contemporary. But like in historical, like historicals take place in this like fantasy world, and there's so much more room to just go absolutely feral with like.
I mean, she didn't need the room, Allison. She got out that shovel and she dug vertically and made the
I'm
room.
saying, listen, I'm saying like
Horizontally.
imagine what she could have if she
Yeah.
was just freed. If she was freed from the modern, she could do. There were scientists in the Regency era. She could do Lady Regency scientists.
True. It's true. Like the ladies'
She
guide.
could blow up Parliament or something. I don't know. Like
Guy, indeed.
Oh my God,
actually,
Guy
we
Fawkes.
keep the names. Guy Fawkes. Remember the 5th of November.
Oh my
Anyway,
God.
so Bee does actually pass out and only like somewhat surfaces to feel Felisa licking her fingers. So the cat sticks around. Okay, then she wakes up in the hospital. They take her to the hospital stupidly. See, that would be so annoying though if you had like some kind of thing like this where like let's like fine, let's maybe suspend disbelief, maybe like this whatever that is not an issue, but like you're constantly getting taken to the hospital. No, I actually think this happens to people with epilepsy a lot. Like if you have a seizure and then it's like strangers and they're like, oh my God, they're having a seizure, call an ambulance, and like you're in America and you get hit with like thousands of dollars in medical bills when like really there was no need to go to the hospital. It's just like it happens, you move on. God, that'd be so annoying.
That would be really frustrating, yeah. So basically, she wakes up in the hospital. The truth is revealed. She gets her job back and a promotion, like the offer of a promotion at NASA, and like all is well.
Yeah, Boris comes in. He's like, NASA told me not to apologize to you. It's like, but you absolutely should sue. Honestly, you should, because NASA, like,
really
frankly, they deserve it. Like, they tried to really fuck you over, and then they really did fuck you over. Like, yeah. Anyway.
This man had a gun. This man pulled a gun on her and was going to make her jump off the roof.
Boris, like, the first words out of his mouth are like, Guy will be fired, of course. And then he's like, and there will be legal repercussions, which, like, for me personally, it's just batshit that, like, it's not a stronger statement. Like, attempted murder, people. Attempted murder.
Yeah. And it's like filmed. Like, it's not like a, like,
right. It's not like a he said, she said, but also, like, no. For sure. Anyway.
Christ. Okay.
Right. There's footage. Yeah. Oh my God. The guy probably wiped.
Yeah. So Rosita's there, you know, she says some quippy things.
She says, I would like to thank you for saving Bee. To me, she is like a mother.
No, I was going to say
Oh, fine. You can say it. Well, you said quippy things.
She says some quippy things. And then as she's leaving, she thanks Levi for saving Bee. And she's like, to me, she is like a mother I never had. And Bee is like, I've met your mom. What? Like, your mom's a very nice lady.
She's a great mom in Maryland. And then she gives him a smushed up gumball as a token. I would like to give this to you as a token of my gratitude.
He's like,
thank you. And then we get this like little interlude where we learned about like how Marie, before she married Pierre, like she had this she was like a governess for this guy's younger siblings and like fell in love with him, but he was rich. They couldn't get married. And then like, they each married separate people. He named his daughter Marie, which like it's supposed to be cute, but I'm like, what about his wife? Like, come on.
You know what it is? It's
What?
Jane Austen's boyfriend. It's a Jane Austen boyfriend situation who also named his daughter Jane. And you know who the guy
Well,
who
that's just such a
who
common
he
name.
was? No,
Who?
but you know who he was?
Who?
Earl Grey.
No.
He's the guy that Earl Grey tea is named after.
He was an earl? Why didn't she marry him?
He
She was
hadn't
gonna marry a
inherited
dead-ass
yet. He
earl?
hadn't inherited. He was going to be cut off and like he couldn't support his family.
You know what I really resent? So there's Earl Grey tea, right? There's also Lady Grey tea, but you know what it is? It's literally just weaker Earl Grey tea. Every time I remember that, it makes me so angry.
Just the idea that like historical women wouldn't need more caffeine than
Right. Right, exactly. Just like put up with this shit.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Here we get this ending. I like it. It's cute and it ties in.
Cute.
I like that the Marie Curie history was tied in, and I was like, Ali Hazelwood knows how to tie the strings together. Why were some other balls dropped?
Because he comes in and gives her the Marie Curie bobblehead that we learned that Schmack won at the 2nd grade science fair, 4th grade or something.
Yeah, so they revealed, they're like, okay, we both know that the other person
but
is
like
the
nope,
tutor.
they didn't know before. Like, but did Levi? Oh, because Levi saw it on the security.
Yeah. And she's like, I literally had just found out that it was you, like before I went
but
there.
Wouldn't he have seen it on the security footage that he gave her? Or was he not that observant?
No,
like,
I don't think he was like trying to look at, I don't think he was trying to look at her like Twitter.
Right, yeah.
No.
Like, not trying, but like he would have, seen it.
No, because he also, when he does, he's like, have you known for a long time?
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So the implication of he's like, I just found out, like, have you always known? Anyway, yeah. But then they still don't get back together. He's like, here's a bobblehead and a world's greatest boss mug, which is also a joke from earlier. And then he leaves. And then she's like, that was really silly of me to do. And she brings him the cat. She brings him Felicet. And she goes up and she's like, let's adopt her together. Hello.
Yeah. He's like, how would Schrodinger feel about another cat?
And then Schrodinger and Felicet immediately are best friends. And I was like, what's that like?
Who's to
what's
say?
That like to have
it's like,
two
imagine
cats?
If you got a random roommate. Like, they're not always going to be best friends, but like they might be.
I know, but I was like, wow.
I also really enjoyed
amazing.
Incredible. I saw a TikTok where it was like, first introduction of my cat and my new kitten, and they're like immediately like in love. And I'm like, okay, well, you really just played with the grenade right there with just like balls to the wall. Here's the kitten. But glad it worked out for you.
It is a thing
to just introduce kittens
that tomcats, after they're neutered, tend to be very maternal. And so you'll often see that like a adult tomcat, when like given a kitten, will be like very like affectionate toward it.
Oh, that's nice. Does it have to be like a tomcat that like kept its balls to like adulthood? Or like, you mean
I don't know. I know that it was specifically like former toms.
By tomcat,
so
you mean
like a tomcat is an
or
adult.
tomcat? Okay, fair.
No, a tomcat is an
like
adult
that
cat.
used to have the cheeks at some point. Gotcha.
Right. So like I assume, I guess a cat that had been
like an adult
had his balls as an adult and then got neutered later.
Interesting. I wouldn't expect that, but fair enough.
Yeah. So
also, when she's walking over there, I just really enjoy that she was like, for some unfathomable reason, the Houston skyline makes me think of Paris at the turn of the century. They called it the Belle Epoque. And I'm like, all right, you know what? I love that. I'm going to use that to try to romanticize my life here.
Like, that is
I'm not in Houston. I am in the Belle Epoque. Like, that is it. That is
turn of century Paris.
When I say that, what visual comes to mind for you when I say the Belle Epoque, the turn of century Paris? Specifically, what do you see? Because I see
Tower.
Okay, I see two images at the same time. I see that classic Audrey Hepburn poster that half the girls that we knew growing up had above their bed, right?
What?
Audrey Hepburn, Breakfast at Tiffany's, like that Audrey Hepburn specific. You know what I'm talking about? The one that everyone had. If you wore a brown girl room, you had that, right? You were either like a Paris girl or you know what I mean? Anyway, interspliced with that movie, have you ever seen Midnight in Paris? I think it's Owen Wilson.
I know the premise.
They go back in time in a taxi car to the Belle Epoque, I'm pretty sure. Anyway, I see like specifically a scene where they're getting in the car. Anyway, whatever. Good to know.
Okay. I just see a black and white Eiffel Tower.
Oh, okay. Not Audrey. Anyway, they get
No.
married secretly in lap.
Yes,
They
it's
do
the
what Edward and
epilogue.
Bella should have done.
It's an elopement.
Yeah.
She's like, he keeps being like, oh, let's get, he's like, yeah, she's like, yeah, he proposed like 9 times or whatever. Like, and I
Mhm.
kept being like, oh, I'm not ready. I don't know. And I know he was getting frustrated.
Mhm.
So she's like, I literally dragged him to the court, like took him to the courthouse, didn't tell him what we were doing, and was just like, hey, want to get married? She's
Yeah,
like, this is
which
the only way
is
it's going to happen is if I like
yeah,
surprise everyone.
she's like, "I'm still traumatized by the thousands of dollars in lost security deposits from Tim," which, like, great, fair.
Fair
Yeah,
enough.
so they get
Yeah, so they're already
married,
married, but then they'll have like a, like a wedding like
and
later, like a
Rika is
party in the
like, "Should I hyphenate my name too? Rika Königswasser Ward has a nice ring to it."
They're like, "What?" And then they also have a
It's
5K
time for the
for like
5K that they organize.
anti-GRE. What?
Yeah. Yeah, the
For like
5K that they
anti-GRE whatever, because she revealed her identity.
well, she had
And
to
I want
kind
to
of.
know whether she chose to do that or whether it just came out with like the news about Guy. Which one was it?
Right. Yeah, right,
Because I feel
true,
like that's
true.
evidence in the trial, like he was sabotaging his coworker.
Right, oh, for
You
sure, but the
know,
that could have been sealed, like, I feel like if
his
she asked to.
his trial for treason. Like,
Right,
we're on
one
the
would
same
think.
page, right? Like, Guy commits
No,
treason. Like,
I
that's
didn't even
treason.
yeah, 100%.
No?
I wasn't even thinking of it like that. I was thinking that's the murder is the worst thing, but, like, also definitely treason. Just insane. Like, yeah, and they're like, "Oh, don't worry, he'll be fired." And I'm like, "Yeah, fired by the firing squad." Like,
Oh my god.
no, but really, like, I don't
Yeah.
know.
Yeah, no.
I
Yeah, and then also
simply
we get a note, like, Annie's at the 5K and, like, they went out to dinner and they're slowly rebuilding their relationship, which is
mhm.
cute. But yeah, my final note for this book was like, wait, did Guy give the stuff to MagTech? How did Levi get the blueprints? What did Levi whisper to Tim? I was like, I have
Yeah!
so many questions. Ali Hazelwood, I swear to
She
God, if
really
you're
just
not
said, "Not
saving this all
today."
for like a newsletter special release bonus material, I'm gonna be so upset if we never get. It's like in the fucking hating game when you never find out whether she got the job. Ah. You know what?
See, I
I
forgot
bet
about all of this stuff, but
it's somehow her editor's fault. Her editor was like, "You can't make him a spy." Her crusty editor. I have a lot of respect for you. I think you're really talented. I mean, Ali Hazelwood's books are great, so clearly you have some talent, Ali Hazelwood's editor, but also free her.
right, because if you're gonna introduce a gun, there's nothing I mean, maybe it's just like they think everyone get the full Texas experience, but if you're gonna introduce a gun, like a random gun, I feel like you've already maxed out at that point. There's nothing that you could add at that point that would make it more insane. So, like, why not? It would make more sense actually for him to be a spy, a corporate spy. Like, dude, a corporate spy with his own personal
Like
motivation,
I
of
I may
course.
write like a fan fiction, like an AU, which is a corporate spy.
Yeah, you should. I support that.
Oh man.
Especially because it would totally validate like, here's the thing. Okay, remember I mean, it still is validated actually, but, like, remember when they had the weird fight about, like, where she was like, "Don't talk to the employees about the logs," and then Levi goes behind her back? Like, that I don't know, I just feel like that would validate it even more. It's like, no, he was literally a spy. I guess actually, never mind. I guess he was already just messing with it, but
Yeah, but maybe it would have validated B because like Levi would have
oh,
like
yes, yes,
tipped
yes.
Guy
Right.
off.
Yes, that's what I was thinking at the time. Yes, yes. It was like they shouldn't have because that's the direction I thought she was gonna go with it. At the time, I was like, she's like, "We don't know who the mole is. We should be careful." And then Levi stupidly, like, tells them anyway, you know? But no, she's like, "We just
Yeah.
don't wanna hurt anyone's feelings just in case it wasn't their fault." Like, girl. Listen, anyone in the audience, like, if you actually work for NASA and you have any insight into, like, how reasonable or unreasonable this is, like, maybe NASA actually is just a bunch of, like, bros being guys and they don't take security seriously at all. They have to work without windows ostensibly for security. So I just simply do not believe, like, I just don't see how that can be the case. Also, it's literally NASA, but maybe now that, like, Elon Musk, et cetera, runs the show, they're like, no security. Sorry, not for me. Thanks. But, like, I really, like, I just need I just need someone to break this down. Like,
Well, okay. You know what I'm thinking of? When we went to the Houston NASA campus, we did our little tour. So when we went in, did we have to go through metal detectors or anything?
no. That's a great
or
point.
like
That is a
maybe
great
I had to open my bag. I had to open my bag, but like, you know, it's the
Yeah.
classic like you glance inside the purse, like it's
Right,
not
right,
really actually
right,
checking for anything. And then
right.
we immediately got on,
No, that's a great point
like
now that you
walked
just said
through the room
that.
and got on the thing, and then we're allowed to go into
To
the like
view
astronaut
actual
training, like
workspace.
actual
Like,
engineering. I was
literally was
like,
seeing some dude's computer as he had his back to us in his team meeting. Like,
yeah, where we were
that's a
seeing them
great point.
testing like and training
Well,
astronauts,
yeah,
like
that's a good point because we do, I guess now they just like full on just work with the Russians. Like, that's the thing is everyone's like, oh, we are enemies with Russia, but also NASA, like, literally there's like displays and it's just like about each astronaut and like 50% are Russian.
oh
And then
yeah.
uniforms are Russian, half the
But
names
I'm
are
not even
Russian.
talking
Like, we are
about
fully
like
collaborating. So maybe there's no one to keep the secrets from anymore,
I'm not even
except
talking
for the
about
Dutch, apparently.
like espionage or whatever.
Right,
I'm
right.
talking
Oh,
about
okay. Oh, I was talking about
like if I wanted
espionage.
to bring a fucking
Oh, sure,
bomb
sure, sure. That's a great
into the
point.
building, who's gonna stop? Like, there's no metal detector, there's no
Sure,
security.
sure. But even from an espionage standpoint, like, yeah,
Yeah, like either way. So like maybe it
right.
is.
Maybe there's no
Maybe
one
it
to
is
hide it.
just
Maybe there are
dudes
no
being bros
secrets.
at
But they
NASA and
but
like
but
no.
at the same time, they have cameras everywhere, including in your private offices.
Yeah. Well, maybe I don't know. Maybe that part that they do the public is like not actually like anything that's like
You
classified.
think?
I mean, it's
Yeah,
obviously not
maybe
anything that's
that's like maybe
classified.
like you get like a break day, like the people that work there, they get to like rotate in, and it's just like a fun like cosplaying being like engineers at
Being a
NASA.
NASA guy.
Like no, because who did I have? I literally had this conversation today. It's like literally like 80% of like working in an office is like cosplaying working at an office, and just
Mhm.
like having to seem like you're
Yeah.
busy, like you're working. So maybe
Yeah.
NASA was just like, you know what, we're just gonna admit it. We know who we are, and you get to cosplay every other day for the tourists because that's how they keep their
Wow.
funding. Like that
It's true.
actually isn't not productive to the mission because like the NASA gets the funding because they're probably, I mean, they say it in the book and I fully believe it, like that they're one of the most popular agencies, like with the public,
Yeah.
publicly supported.
Oh, for sure. That makes
Like
so
no
much
one's going
sense.
around being like defund NASA the way that some people are about the FDA, which arguably is a lot more useful. Like
But also nobody's going around like, "Let
maybe
me
not
tour
that
the FDA."
technology.
You
I would tour
know?
the FDA. Yeah,
I
right.
know, but like it's not like a
Right,
hot
sure, sure,
tourist
sure, exactly. But
destination.
maybe if they made it one, they'd
It's
be more
true.
popular, like
You could like test foods and see which one was poisonous.
yeah, exactly, exactly. You were on the same page here. That's exactly what I was thinking.
I'm glad. Okay, all right, all right. This has been 3 parts.
Okay,
Let's
that's
wrap
enough.
this
Let's
up.
wap it
Let's wrap
up.
this
I
up.
can't
It's
believe it.
time
Yeah.
for cat scale.
All
It's
right,
time for
Allison.
cat
I'm ready. I
scale.
mean, I'm ready. I already made my views clear.
I
Are
know.
we allowed to go above
No.
11? This is an
No.
11. I just don't understand it, Allison. I don't understand how it could be any higher. Like
Yeah.
unless they literally had ears and whiskers, like they were like
There
that's how
wasn't
they bonded.
a
They were
lot
the
of
rare people.
growling.
Their
I
belly
don't
set literally growled, Allison.
I know, but from like Levi
Right.
or Bee.
Okay, but like
There wasn't any human noises.
Allison.
But there was a cat who was very instrumental to the plot. Who was Nay?
Not a cat.
Nay
There was
probably
3 cats. One cat who
That's
was like
true.
critical. 2 cats that were critical to the plot. Because Schrodinger is how they identify it. Belly set saves the day. Who was what were you gonna
Yeah.
say? Like arguably the hero
Yeah,
of
that's
the
what I say.
story.
Nay, like in like the plot doesn't exist
Yeah.
without her.
Yeah. In any way, shape, or form, yes.
Bee would
Absolutely, I do.
never have figured that out on her own. She would not have been capable of figuring that out on her own.
Of
She's
what?
so exceptionally unobservant.
Of
And
what?
figuring out Guy or that someone had like fucked
Oh
like
yeah.
with her program and
Right,
like logged
right,
in
right.
on her Twitter. Like she would not have figured that out ever. If
No.
there had not been if she had not been
Right,
smacked in the face with visual
because
evidence.
Guy, like when they're talking, he's like, "You're not very technologically competent, are you?" And she's like, "I can code in 3 languages." And Guy's like an asshole, and he's like, "Was one of them HTML?" And she's like, "Shut up!" But like, that was sexist, but also like he has a point in saying that she's not very technologically competent. And I say that as someone who like is also not very technologically competent, as much as you would expect, like for someone who is my age, like.
Listen,
Anyway,
we gotta wrap
we're
this
ready.
up.
We're
Okay.
fine. You're the
Cat
one who's
scale.
musing. I told you my answer. I have my
3,
answer. 2, 1,
3,
10.
9.
Fuck you. Fuck you. Fuck you.
Fine, 10.
No, it's
10.
fine. It's fine. You can say 9.
I've given
9.
in.
I was kidding. All right.
10. That's it. Where can they find us, Rachel?
Allison, no. They can find us. I hate doing this. It's so stressful. TikTok, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, at We Read It One Night, Twitter's podcast, Gmail, We Read It One Night at gmail.com. Rate and review us. Do it now. Do it right now.
Buy our merch.
Do it. Buy our merch. Merch. Whoop whoop. And that's all she wrote.
That's it. All right.
Godspeed, comrades.
Godspeed.